Hi, I'm Waverly Evans. Yes, I'm in a restroom. No, I'm not actually using it. I'm here to put on some makeup, get ready for the day. It is Monday. I just released a song over the weekend called Living My Life. And I also want to kind of give my little tidbit on how to turn pain into art. So what we're gonna do first is get some makeup on. Get something going. 1 second. Alright, so I'm gonna first start off with this e.l.f. Whoa Glow Sun Protection and Makeup Primer. I'm gonna just get a little small amount because a little goes a long way with shit like this. Get these little strands out of my face. Do a little moment all over my face. Now that we have some sunscreen, makeup, primer thing going on, I'm also going to use, this is something that I like to use throughout my makeup process, especially right before powder, after powder, just to make my skin very luminous and dewy. I've really been liking that effect. I used to be very much of a MAC girl for most of my time wearing makeup in the past 11 years. However, nowadays, in the past couple of years, I've definitely been loving the whole dewy makeup, especially with being sober for well over a year and 8 months. So I'm going to start off with this as well after that sunscreen lotion that I've used. And now it's time for my base, my foundation. I'm going to use this Maybelline. Maybe it's Maybelline. Maybe she's just got the best of both worlds like Miley Cyrus. I'm gonna do a little age rewind moment. Now, personally, I've always been 17, okay? I have a 17-year-old feminized male body, and I very much love who I am. So that's what we're gonna start off with, is getting in touch with who we are as who we are. Who you are is who you're meant to be, okay? That's how I see things, how your body is, how your face is, how your mind works. Any sort of disorder that people have told you have, any sort of weird way that you handle situations, or what makes your personality that clashes with others, is what makes your art the shit. Let me explain. No, actually, let me say that again. What makes you weird makes your art the shit. Weird is a side effect of being awesome, okay? If you're not weird, your art is probably not all that good. You're probably copycatting from other people who actually are weird enough to do something original. Like I mentioned, I'm gonna use this Maybelline all over my face a little bit, just a light layer, because I really don't actually need makeup. Nobody, in my opinion, needs makeup. Makeup is a form of art, just like how I love to use eyeliner on my wounds, turn them into art, because a lot of the things that I've seen, even without glasses, actually especially without glasses, because sometimes I've seen enough without these things, let alone with these things. I love to do different types of eyeliner wings, just with my intuitive, subconscious part of my brain. And something about all the days, for 365 days per year since I was about 18, 19 years old, these wings that I put on my eyes always end up being exactly how I've been feeling. So if they're very thick and like up, that means I'm very like intense. Like I'm feeling like I need to set, make sure these hoes know, make sure these hoes hoe. Anyways, or if they're very like delicate and docile, that means I know that I've been in a relaxed, more so, not necessarily submissive, but more feminine and laid back side. And that's one thing that I love about makeup, is how makeup is a form of art. I believe every single person on the face of this planet has the right to wear makeup and wear the clothes that they want to wear and all of that stuff. Unfortunately, we do live in societies across the world where things are very frigid. However, there are times throughout time where this stuff is fluid and has always been fluid as fuck. A lot of the stuff that we deal with in the world is archaic as shit. And I get a lot of the brunt of it as a black and non-binary transgender woman. And so, unfortunately, I am typically the person to shit on the most when things go wary, especially when you have an orange running for, you know what, let me shut up. So I'm gonna take this beauty blender here and blend this shit out. I'll be right back. Now that my base is all blended out, I'm just gonna look into this mirror right here so I can continue filming and tell you more about how to turn pain into art. So for me, it's all about finding whatever, revisiting whatever passions you had as a little kid, basically tending to your inner child. So for me, it was reading, writing, music. I loved music, I loved reading, I loved being able to escape into other people's worlds, and I loved being able to create my own worlds. I remember when I was a little kid in middle school, writing comic books and sharing them with kids in school, and it being like a fun little like hobby that I was able to do and connect with people, even though I was very much like so much of a lone wolf growing up. I was always in my own world. I'd still be in my own world all of the time, even though I tend to have a very sociable attitude when I'm ready to. I'm a very highly sensitive person, so I have this pullback method that I've had to come up with over the years, because people ain't shit. You know, people ain't shit. This world will hurt you. She's right. The world will hurt you. And it's important to revisit exactly the core of who you are as a person, because that is usually the only consistent thing that will ever exist in your life, okay? Not one person, not a place, not a thing. All of those things, all of those people, all of those different forms of illusions that are consistency is nothing compared to the core of your being. I liken it to a caterpillar becoming a butterfly, you know? The makings and mechanisms that make a caterpillar is always going to be what is the telltale, most indicative factors when it comes to that caterpillar and how that caterpillar becomes a butterfly. What that butterfly ends up looking like is a direct result of how that caterpillar was before it became a butterfly, before it had to go into its cocoon. And I'm definitely one of those types of people where I've had to be in a cocoon. But the difference between dying in a cocoon and making it out of the cocoon is turning that pain into art. Because you can allow the pain to get to you to the point where you succumb to it and you die. Literally, emotionally, figuratively, whatever the fuck. Or you can come out of it by realizing just how of a badass you've always been in your life. And that's something that I've really honed into over the years, is the fact that a lot of the reason why people bullied me so heavily was because they were jealous. They were jealous, and in all of the jealousy and mockery and belittling that happened, they did not have the inner strength, the inner insight to realize just how much that they've had it good, regardless of how much I've had it better by my intrinsic qualities, and how everything is a double-edged sword. Because whether you have privilege or not, whether you have certain gifts or not, there's always a tug and pull with this shit called life. You know, pain, in my opinion, is definitely something that is one of the most, if not the most, important ways of reminding yourself that you are still alive. Once you don't feel pain anymore for a long-term part of your life, that means you're dead. Okay, dead people don't feel pain because they're dead. Pain is a reminder that you're still alive. And the best thing you can do is do something beautiful. Make it into something beautiful, in my humble opinion. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and use these natural colors. I love me some e.l.f. everything. This is already pretty much all gone. I can't use most of the shadows in here. For real, I'm just using these two here to do a crease. Yes, I have rubies. Yes, they're in the shower. You're just gonna have to bear with me, okay? This is my first video that I've done since fucking COVID, okay? Like, videos like this. Like, I don't do this shit. I just be making my music. I have been writing lately and reading a whole lot. There is a few books that I'll talk about later on once I'm ready to. But that's what I do personally, is that I write, I listen to music, I make music, I read, I listen to audiobooks all the time and flip through those different channels whenever I'm going through something hard. Usually nowadays it's very intrinsic for me to do that. It's very easy, it's pretty visceral what happens. I go into a deep dive of the archive that is my own music, that is other people's music, and I revisit certain chapters in my life. Especially with having an autobiographical memory, it's pretty easy for me to go through different chapters of my life with books and music that is tailored and anchored into different periods of my life to remind myself that they were good, they're bad, and there's more so accurate truth with what was going on in that time period, because I strongly believe that hindsight is in fact 2020. Right now I'm using this ColourPop Gone Metal eyeshadow. This is what I've been using lately, besides that e.l.f. contour palette for my eyes, because I love how the eyeshadows are very neutral and it gives off an Egyptian vibe by the time that I do my eyeliner. So I'm just gonna quickly, well, I should say expeditiously, get this together because I'm running low on time. I have to be done by 7 and I'm pretty sure it's like damn near close to that in my time, okay? And my time is already pretty close to that, which means it's like 7:45 some shit, I don't know. Anyways, I'm gonna go ahead and do my eyeliner wing and throw out some concealer and I'll be almost done. Alright, now that I have my war paint makeup on, I'm going to mention too that whatever your hobby was as a kid, as they say, tends to become your calling as an adult, whether that be playing dolls and teaching them how to do things with your friends. Maybe you want to be a teacher, or taking care of people or stuff like that. Maybe you end up being a mother or father, yada yada yada. But the things that you did as a kid that soothed your soul, that is what you want to run to when you're going through shit, okay? For me, it's watching music videos that I was watching as a kid. I remember this time that I was filmed doing something for the community, and I mentioned in my speech that you are the light at the end of your own tunnel, and I wondered why exactly was that a phrase I intuitively said during that speech. And it's because a music video that I watched a lot, religiously actually, was The Voice Within by Christina Aguilera. And by the end of that video, she runs into a platform beaming of light and she lays on it, and in my head I visualized for my own sake during times of distress and a dark period of life that resulted in my complex post-traumatic stress disorder, that I actually became my own beacon of light. I was searching for this beacon of light the entire time, but the voice within myself is what was the sole hero in that life, and that I am actually the main character of my story all along, as opposed to other people telling me what my story was. I am allowed to tell my story exactly how it was, or exactly how it is, and I'm allowed to rewrite it, and I'm allowed to express it the way I want to. I'm a grown-ass adult, and I'm allowed to do things. There's always a choice in the matter, and no one can take that choice away from me, which is my soul and how I tend to my own soul in the midst of chaos. So with that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and blend this shit on out, do some final touches, and wrap this shit up. I'm adding some of the eye contour palette and actually using it for contour on my jawline, my incredible jawline, right? That's what everybody loves to say anyways. But I did want to express a couple of things when it comes to the drawbacks, actually, of turning your paint into art is, number one, criticism from your peers. My biggest mistake is sharing things a little too early. I am an Aquarius, so my ideas are very out of the box a lot of the time. The stuff that I already made years ago wasn't really ready for the world because the world was not prepared for the genius that is my music and or writing or whatever the case is. So I had to take some time, go back into the vault when I was ready to, when the, well, not me, but when, like I said, the world was ready to delve into what I got going on in actual reality, and also marinate and make sure and tend to take care of that art as it heals the inside of me. You know, art can be a very cathartic process when you take your time with it, as well as with the second thing, besides sharing things too early or sharing things to the wrong people. Remind yourself exactly why you're doing it, okay? You're doing it because it's your passion, it's your drive. You're not doing it because you might make money someday or because you might be famous one day. It has nothing to do with fame. If you actually are doing something that is helping you stay alive, that is helping other people feel like life is worth living for, your life is worth fighting for, that is a priceless thing, okay? Whether it's a performance that nobody can see visually on YouTube, or a song that got somebody out of their misery that you made 10 years ago, right? It doesn't matter. That stuff is priceless. That stuff is what makes life, in my opinion, worth it. You know, making that much of an impact. I personally am someone who chooses impact over fame or money, because that shit is what gets you in the books and keeps you stuck in the books, okay? Chasing virality, I'm just using this e.l.f. Foundation powder to finish up, honestly, and set my face together. But yeah, impact is singularly the most important and most fascinating thing about life, in my opinion, because once you make that impact on people, it don't matter how little or how much money you got in a moment of time, and it doesn't matter how quick and how easily lost fame is and how easily lost relevancy is. Your impact on people's lives is something that is a butterfly effect. What you did for somebody is going to make them feel like life is worth fighting for, which will make them feel like that they can fight for other people's lives and have children and teach them exactly what you've taught them, which is how to love yourself. And that is something that is just priceless. That is being immortal as a human being, is showing acts of love and kindness. And when you do that with your art, you become an unstoppable force, even in silence. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish up my makeup, change into my clothes. I don't really have too much time. Unfortunately, as you can see, I look pretty crazy. I need to put some on my lips, cause I look like a statue, as always. I'm gonna be using these things here, an eyeliner pencil, things like that. Maybe I'll show you the final touch. Maybe I won't. I don't know. I finished up pretty much with my makeup. I want to go ahead and set this all together with that Essence Hydrating Mist, like so, and I'm pretty much done. I did use this as blush. I always love to use satin ink lip gloss is what I use, but any sort of lip gloss that's very potent and pigmented, because I love the natural sheen that goes on. I did top it with this e.l.f. gloss. This is that Princess Cut one. Love that. As well as I used in pencil, quick little eye pencil to line my lips, because an eye pencil is the same thing as a lip liner. Okay. And I used this Milani color in 190 Bay, as well as that same exact e.l.f. lip gloss to top it all off. I did add a little bit of lip gloss as well, the e.l.f. lip gloss, onto my eyeshadow, and made sure my eyebrows are brushed out with this Rodan & Fields eyebrow gel. And with that being said, besides the contour, looking very contoured, that's all I really did. Besides what I showed you as I was speaking about turning your pain into art. I'm changing into my outfit. I got it fast. But thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you some other time in some other way. Bye.